All right, and we are live. So a warm welcome to each and everyone. Welcome to Let Us Talk It Zipiners. So thank you for looking forward to the Wednesday weekly session that we do with our free knowledge sharing platform. So this Zipiner is made possible by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. So there are 90 company based in Detroit, Michigan, who wanted to give back to the community through free knowledge sharing. And we call this one Zipiners as we try to zip in two topics in one session. So that's to lessen the time consumed but to maximize the information being shared. And what we share here is not just the information because it's available over the internet. We also share here the experience, which is very precious with our seasoned professionals. Their own perspectives and views on things will be shared here as well. All right. So, first off, we have two topics today. The first topic is how does a scarcity mindset affect your wealth? So these are just words that we hear normally, but definitely this is a wonderful topic and not much being talked about. So scarcity mindset can have a significant impact on your wealth, often in ways you might not immediately recognize. So when you operate from a place of scarcity, you tend to focus on what you lack rather than what you have. So this topic will be delivered to us by a self-awareness and success coach, Roslyn Casiano Perez, and she has worked in the field of human behavior for more than 10 years. And as a clinical social worker, she noticed the limitation of traditional therapy in addressing issues related to wealth and access to it. So, drawing on her experience and knowledge, she has dedicated herself to helping others improve their access to wealth through the application of behavioral science. And here with us, Roslyn Paris. Yeah, so you can take over, and if you wish to start with the first topic.
Thank you so much for the invitation and for the warm welcome. As I was presented, my name is Rosalind Casiano, and today we're going to talk about the topic presented here, like how does scarcity mindset affects your access to wealth? But first, before we jump to anything, what is scarcity mindset? We grow up in our culture, surrounded by family members, surrounded by our loved ones. And absolutely every experience that we're exposed to shapes who we are. And we carry that into adulthood without even knowing how present belief systems, opinions, values are shaping the decisions that we make on our everyday lives. And as a counselor, I saw many clients come into my practice struggling with anxiety, struggling with depression, struggling with also with finances. Yet the fact that a lot of the thoughts and the things that and the experiences that they were exposed to growing up were shaping their access to wealth whenever they were experiencing financial problems, particularly, it was not as clearly discussed during our session. So, what is scarcity? Going back to that question, scarcity is a perception of life that resources are limited. So pretty much when we function in this area, seeing life that resources are limited, there's a belief that if I have more, if I have access to wealth, that it means that there's less for other people. And when we operate that way, we are triggering our nervous system. We're living in survival. For example, I'm pretty sure we all are familiar with COVID-19 and whenever people were buying toilet paper, right? So because people were just like fixated that I just need to buy and make sure that this is enough for me because I don't know what's going to happen. So people did not understand much why toilet paper, but still it was founded in scarcity functions and reactions. And then because of how everybody saw everyone buying toilet paper, that other people felt that then there's going to be less for me, so I have to do the same thing. And it created this chain event, but it was all rooted in that scarcity mindset because if you have all of this, then it means that there's less for me. When in reality, I know that we're talking about toilet paper and COVID, but just to kind of like to present and introduce this topic and how present is in our lives, we could have used so many other resources in order for us to satisfy our needs, right? In that end. So whenever we are functioning in survival, and this is the most important thing, is because we want to keep ourselves safe. So if every decision that we make around money, around the things that we need in our lives, the things that we perceive that we need, or the things that we have or we don't have, if we operate in scarcity, it's going to be rooted in safety. But here's the thing. When do we need to be safe? When we recur to safety, we want to feel protected, but that's the only case whenever there's a threat out there, whenever there is something that we perceive as danger. So when we operate in the threat, when we operate in the need to be protected, it's going to trigger our nervous system. So how does this function? How does this work? Money does not necessarily equate to abundance. Money does not necessarily equate to wealth. Because if it's operated on scarcity mindset, people can have access to a lot of money, but it can also be rooted in that survival skill. It can be rooted in feeling safety through the money, which is going to continue just to have a certain reaction in our body. For example, how many of you can relate to whenever you have access to money, you feel like, okay, I have access to this. Let me just go ahead and make sure and save it and put it away, or just like to watch every dollar spent because I don't want to waste it. I don't want to spend it on things that are not needed. Whenever we function out of need, as I was saying in the beginning, is to feel safe. So to free ourselves from that, we have to change our relationship with money. We have to change our relationship with wealth, because money is just the means, it's a medium to access resources. But there can be so many different ways that we can access resources through relationship, right? Through our creativity, through innovation. Going back, how we tend to operate in scarcity, the example that I gave as wanting to make sure that we are accounting every single dollar that we spend, every single dollar that goes out. And it triggers us if we perceive that money is not spent in a particular way. We feel that, oh, I should have done this, and I just like, let me just go ahead and make sure that I save more. And absolutely everything that we're spending, we're just like being very vigilant with that. That could be one way, right? Because how does this tie into our childhood? How many times you heard that money doesn't grow in trees? You cannot have this. You have to work hard in order for you to be able to access this. And it's not that necessarily that there's something wrong with those belief systems. It's how we wired our nervous system to that. And we grow up thinking that if I overspend on this or I overspend my money on that, it's not going to come back. That's why we question all the time, is this really needed? But at the end, what are the things that we need? We need air, we need food, we need to sleep. But other than that, mostly nothing is really needed. Because if you buy a shirt and you like the shirt to have a palm tree in it, do you really need that shirt? No. So if you rationalize the things that you need, then eventually there's always going to be a justification to not let you have access to that, because you're operating on survival, you're operating on need, you're operating on safety. And all of this happens at a subconscious level. How can be other ways that relationship with money is rooted in scarcity? Because for some people, it may be the example that I provided. It's just like, I have to make sure that I keep safe and I don't spend money. And is this really needed? But for other people, it could be, as soon as I have access to money, I'm going to make sure that I buy all of these things, because what if I no longer have access to this money again? So these are the overspenders. These are people that sometimes get themselves in debt. These are people that just, as soon as they access money, they feel like, I have it here, so I have to make sure that I get this, because they're seeking safety through the things that they access to money, through money. But all of this, it doesn't matter all the things that you have. If it's rooted in scarcity, it's going to affect your wealth. Because what is wealth? Wealth is freedom and the type of relationships, the time that we can do and to make the choices to do whatever we want. The the money that we have in order for us to access that, and the freedom in our purpose. How many people are doing things just because they want to feel that they have money, but they don't like what they do? They hate their jobs. If you hate your job and you have money, guess what? You're not accessing wealth, because wealth can be accessed when you are fully aligned and in tune with all of your sense of freedoms in all areas, such as the one that I just mentioned: relationships, time, purpose. And yes, money, but money, once again, is just one of the many different means to access those three types of freedom that I was just mentioning right now. So, what can be done whenever we notice that we are operating in scarcity? We want to access abundance mindset, because abundance mindset help us operate in desires and what we truly like, we love to have in our lives. Because guess what? If we're operating in survival, your nervous system is attached, and therefore you're operating on cortisol and adrenaline. No wonder why so many people feel so stressed. So many people feel overwhelmed, tired, but they have to like do even more. But when you are tired, when you are stressed, when you are overwhelmed, and you're operating on cortisol and adrenaline, the last thing that you'll have access to is creativity. And you need creativity. Creativity is the ingredient to access innovation, inspiration, which is the ingredient that is required for wealth. Because when you access innovation, inspiration, then you create new things that can be helpful in your life and in other people's lives. And you're connected to your sense of purpose. And you can access freedom through that, which is what abundance means. By operating on just purely desires. That's why so many people are disconnected with who they truly are, because they feel the need to satisfy other people's needs by people pleasing. And I can just like pull so much out of the things that we do on a daily basis that are just feeding that scarcity. And it's equivalent to being disconnected from who we are. And therefore, not being satisfied, not being happy, not feeling so fulfilled in our lives. Because the simple way that we're operating is just driving away from our nature, our true selves, our authentic selves. So how to create an abundant mindset? First is by identifying the differences between needing and just wanting and desiring. Because once again, there are very few things that we need, but yet we continue to use that word for so many different things. I need this, I need that. And the more that you include that word in your vocabulary, the more you're going to feel that something's missing. Because when there's a need, it means that without, which is going to feel that I'm not enough. I have to satisfy that. It's like if someone tells you you're going to be without air for 1 minute. So like, you're going to feel like, am I possible to be is it possible for me without any air? Right? Because we do need air. So just the thought of not having triggers your nervous system and pushes you away from accessing true wealth. So an abundance mindset is when we let go of the need of things and just start listening to our desires, our wants, the things that we will love to have. Because therefore, we will access freedom. We will access that freedom that is going to take us through that bridge towards wealth. So how can we access abundance mindset? First, we have to recognize and be in touch and in tune with our bodies. Because if we have been operating through that sense that I need to work hard on this, If I spend this money, then it's not going to come back. I have to watch out where my money's going. And it's not that we are not going to operate that way, but it's going to be from a different source when we operate on abundance. Everything is going to align, everything is going to fall back into place. It's going to feel natural. We're going to be in a state of trust and knowing that we're supported by life. If you're listening to this, it means that you have everything you require to be alive. So everything else, just trust. Trust that life has your back. Trust that money has your back. That it doesn't matter what happens in my life. I have everything I need. I am complete. And I just can feel free to think outside of the worries of what is needed, what is missing. But in order for us to access that, we need to listen to our bodies. Each time that you go to a supermarket and you see the amount, how does that make you feel? Did you feel nervous? Did you ask the cashier, like, remove this or add that? Or, you know what, I'm just going to change this. Sometimes even having the money, but we're always counting everything. Or if you have access to money and you feel that, let me just go ahead and go online. Let me go to Amazon. And listen to your body. Sit with that feeling for a moment, listen, and connect to that source. What does it mean if I don't go out and spend this? Or what does it mean if actually I go out and buy this thing? What will that mean? Listen to your heart, listen to your shoulders, to your back, to your stomach, because that's your nervous system talking to you. And when you do that, then you will connect to those belief systems that are telling you, but if you spend money on this, then you're not going to be able to buy this. But what about the plans that you have this? Or if you don't spend this now, what if it doesn't, what if it goes away? But this is just a one-time offer. And all of those thoughts are going to grant you information about yourself and help you self-soothe your nervous system and detach those belief systems for you to create new ones that are aligned in the spirit of wealth. For you to say, that's okay. If I have money in the bank and this is something that I genuinely love, it's just speaking to my soul. So I'm going to buy this. And I'm providing different examples because each person is different. But still, scarcity mindset, it's that scarcity mindset underneath. And that's what we want to work with. So listening to your body, listening to your belief systems, your values, your opinions, connecting with that root source. I love to use that belief systems that I mentioned at the beginning because that I grew up with, and I know that many people grew up with, like, money doesn't grow on trees, right? So wait, hold on. So there is a limited access to money, but once again, money is limited, but wealth isn't, because how many relationships can I have in the world? So it's like, how do we help ourselves see beyond those limitations? Because we can access so much wealth in so many different ways. If my job is to relate to people and connect with people, then I can have all the relationships I want in the world. If my purpose is to write, I can write all of the books, all of the articles, all of the posts, the blogs that I would like in the world. There are no limits to that. And I will feel free with my purpose. And life will reward you for that. But in order for life to reward you with wealth, the wealth that you desire, we need to be in a state of trust. Because we are energy beings. We are energetics right now. And just to prove you that how much energy is in our lives, if I were to come into this Zipinar and be like, hi, everyone, hold on one moment. I'm just going to connect with my phone. You're going to feel like, this feels awkward. This feels like very awkward. That's because we're energetic beings. Everything flows through energy. So if I'm in the mindset, I have to be careful and I'm just going to measure how much is that. I'm going to miss opportunities. And that's going to be the energy that I'm putting out there. People are going to feel, you know what, I have an opportunity that if this person invests, it will just like exponentially help them like access way more wealth. But this person is always like checking every single dollar where it goes. I'm going to present it to someone else. And we don't know that. We don't know that because we're just like so stuck on that scarcity mindset that we're not even aware because all of this is subconscious. So listen to your body, tap into your belief systems. If this is something that becomes difficult, there are professionals, get help, like access coaches, mentors that can see the blind spots that sometimes we are not able to see for ourselves. And you'll see how this will be so beneficial and life-changing for you. So I hope that this is helpful and is a conversation that I'd love to have. I'm passionate because I grew up in a culture, in an environment where everything was limited. And if you have this, then you already had that. So you cannot have this other thing. You just can have one or two things. So you have to choose. And it's so present in absolutely everything. And if in reality, if we desire something and it's not available at the moment, that's okay. But we're true to our desires. We're true to our wants. We're true to the things that we love. It's not ourselves getting in the way, which is different.
Uh, Question: Is it also being fed by like you keep comparing what you have to your neighbor or to others?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. When we operate on scarcity mindset, it feeds comparison and it feeds judgment. It feeds comparison because it's if this person has this, then there's less for me. Or if I have this, then this person may not have it. But pretty much that comparison, when we see others having the things that we desire, it also holds us back, gets in the way. Because how many coaches are out there? If I were to just to see before I made the decision to become a self-awareness and success coach, if I look like how many, let me see first how many others, then no one would do anything. But you're unique. I'm unique. And when you just place your focus in yourself, then you expand exponentially. But whenever you're focusing on someone else, guess what? You are imprisoned by the external things outside of your control. Once again, which is going to trigger stress, is going to trigger overwhelm, is going to make you feel that you have to work harder because if this person is doing all of this, then I need to stand up. And if you feel, if you perceive that you're not up to that person's level to your perception, then that's going to go back to and impact your self-esteem, your self-image, your self-confidence. And it triggers judgment on the other side because how can I balance me being compared to or comparing myself to everyone else? And at some point, I have to protect myself. So I have to put other people down or I put myself down. Any opinion that we have about others or about ourselves is judgment and it's useless. It serves no purpose. It gets in your way of seeing beyond past the things that are going to hold you back. So that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that because yes, absolutely is very tied. And it
Yes.
also, I know that we're kind of like, I don't want to get more time from the other speaker, but it also impacts your confidence. Whenever we're comparing all the time, it can also trigger victim mindset. You see, I'm trying and there's all of these things and like this person is, no, it's like you are always the one to get in your way. So I hope that this clarifies your question and also a little bit more about the topic on how scarcity can impact your wealth.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, so the main the takeaway that I have is just focus on all the things that you have instead of things that you don't have, because yes, definitely it will, yeah, it will make you down. It will make you feel down because you're lacking this and that, but you have things to prioritize. So make sure to appreciate the things that you have. Like it's abundant already. You are
Yeah.
abundant already.
Absolutely. And then it's a vicious cycle because if you're getting in your way and you're perceiving your life around you, guess what? That's everything that it's around your environment right now in your life. This chair, this door in my back, it was a decision from the past. Yeah, it's in my present now, but at some point my past self made me be around in this environment. So you really have to like see yourself where you're going forward and already envision yourself there. Yeah.
Wow,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Such a great topic, and thank you so much for bringing that one here in our platform. Yes, this may be common informations, common knowledge, most of the words definitely, but it's not something that is discussed every day, or like me being put into awareness, because we tend to forget because of the things that we get used to, or like we have grown up into such a way of thinking. So, yeah, thank you for this topic. It also serves a reminder and a timely, detailed information. All right, appreciate it and appreciate your time, Rosalind, and your presenting this topic and your willingness to share it to our audience, to the public as well. So there are no questions posted just yet, but definitely, if there are any questions, for those who are watching live as well, you can just put it on the comments. If in case you missed this live session, just still put it there. I'll make sure that it will reach Roslyn and hand over the answers to you. If you wish to connect with her as well, you can just search her on LinkedIn and send a connection invite. Definitely, she's very responsive. And before we go to the second topic, Roslyn, do you have anything coming up in the future, maybe? Or you'd like to promote, you're starting a business, a book, or anything?
Yes, you can always, as you said, find me on LinkedIn and also in my website, insightfulessence.com, or listen to my podcast, Successful Living Mindset. Thank you so much for the invitation.
All right, then. Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you so much, Rosalind, for that wonderful topic again. All right. So moving forward, we'll be having our second topic for today, which is big dreams made from smaller pieces. So turning no's into yeses to help along our career journey. And this topic is based on our guest's uh, co-authored book, The Change, which is Insights into Self Empowerment. And our second guest speaker is Mr. Greg Mester, which is the president, Idea Communications Network, and podcast host on 5 a.m. Mr. Scrum show. So, Mr. Greg Mester was recently live at the Product Owner Summit 2024 in April. So, professional product owner career, what might that look like? So, also, Greg Master is a transformational leader and expertly bridging the gap between complex ideas and actionable solutions, and driving teams towards unprecedented success in agile environments. And also an agile cheerleader, mentor, coach, keynote speaker, and entrepreneur, earning 20 plus certifications as well as bachelor's and master's degrees, and has survived and thrived in change with 80 job changes. Uh, Also, in 1999, Greg started his first business um, in 2000, and he discovered Agile and Scrum, which he used to save $1 million programs and doubled his salary with yeses to job changes in a few years. And without further ado, we have here Mr. Greg Mester to present the second topic.
Thanks for the intro.
Yes.
And let's get the share going here. I'm going to do this and this one. share. Bigger. Maybe. There you go. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you very much. Great to be here. That was an interesting topic prior, so that was really good. And it may lead into some of the things we talk about here.
Mhm.
So life's good. Business, I had billboards on 95, all big, shiny. Everything was going awesome. And then rapid change happened. Looking for loose change to buy lunch for that week. So I go from billboards to finding pennies on the ground to pay for my lunch. I just before that, I was a fresh kid out of college. I broke down what it would take to get out of mechanical engineering in 4 years, graduated in a down year of engineers. Hundreds of resumes went out. I know some of my coworkers were in the newspapers, and I'm like, I'm not telling you how many resumes I put out that time. And so I went back to the basics. I went back to working in machine shops. I even sold perfume door to door. I got a lot of no's, got a couple yeses. So I learned how to survive with a lot of no's doing that door to door. Can you imagine a 20-year-old guy just going door to door selling perfume? It was amazing. Then I landed that next engineering job. I kept contact with some old college friends, and so connections are very important. And I definitely make sure people connect with me if they're interested. But she helped me land my first engineering job. I got that job because of the machine shop experience I had while I was waiting for that job. I took advantage of little things, learning little things, because I was the only one that had any experience in a machine shop. And then, I joined making money. We traveled, did things, went out fishing around the Gulf of Mexico. It was great. But as I went while I was working there, I leveled up my knowledge. My company offered a tuition reimbursement, but they only paid for 3 courses a year. I could have said no, but I said yes to myself and invested for that extra 2 years so I can graduate on time with my master's. It could have been an easy no. I even had a coworker say to me, "What did I do to deserve?" He was telling me, "What did I do to deserve that benefit?" I'm like, "I'm going to take it. I take advantage of it." And there's a little diploma from my great grandmother from 1897 for when she graduated from high school. So I use that as inspiration. If she could do it in 1897, I could do it now. There's nothing prevents anybody on this conversation to achieve big goals. But you got to start somewhere, right? You got to get that high school degree. You got to keep moving. I had an opportunity to say yes while I was there. I had an offer there was a rotation, 6 months with the new jet fighter for the Navy Department. In my mind, I had lots of no's. It was in Washington, D.C. There were plenty of people, engineers that were above me, that were better than me, that could take the job. So it's kind of going back to what she just had talked about, Rosalind just talked about. And I was in the middle of my master's program. I could have said no, but I said yes, even though I had to travel every day from Washington, D.C. back to Philadelphia to take my classes and do both. But I ended up helping assemble the E&F jet fighter program for the new LRIP contract. And you can see the picture here. Got to see first flight of a brand new aircraft that never existed before. So I got to participate on that. So I could have missed on all those great stories. And I could write a book of all the stories from that adventure. And then I came back to Earth. I went back to my old job, meet with customers around the world to learn their pain points. And sometimes timing is perfect. And I partnered with Georgia Tech. We built something from nothing in 6 months. Quote from one of my competition people: "You did what no one else in the room did. You actually built something." They wrote specs, they had dreams, but they didn't actually build anything. And you can see the one picture of me. I'm there in the bottom with the air out in the field, seeing what the life was like for the product that we had. And we ended up winning another $10 million for our production and development. And actually ended up presenting to the Undersecretary of the Navy as a little tiny GS-12 engineer. So these are the kind of things that if you said no, I would never have got that, right? What's next? I realized it would take me years to come up in the corporation to government. So I slid into my own business. I love Philadelphia and all the things that had to do. I built my first business. I grew to 30,000 and 60,000 hits a month. And this is in the flip phone days. This isn't in the modern days. This is back then. I was getting that much a month.
Wow.
I had the billboards on 95, right? So I finally left my nice job. So now I got my company, it's running good, and I finally got it. Then all of a sudden, 9/11, 2 years, within 2 years, 9/11 happened. I saw 60,000 hits go down to zero. I mean, literally looking at the metrics, I go, oh God, we all have to get jobs. We're done. But I got some side jobs, little jobs here and there to cover my business debt, because when you have a company, you're still obligated to pay your debt. I even crawled around in the belly of UPS airplanes during the holiday rush. If you ever know anything about the States during the holiday rush, UPS and all, they're busy, busy, busy. So I took side jobs, paid for that. My earnings paid my credit cards and kept my mortgage afloat a little bit, but I would actually walk through the neighborhood movie theater. This is when we had change. It was on all credit cards. And I would look for loose change just to pay for lunch that week. Back then, it didn't cost much money to buy lunch. Thank God that the it wasn't so expensive. But I did that for a while, for a couple months, 6 months probably. And then an opportunity came again. An old partner from Georgia Tech again, staying connected with people you worked with in the past. Hey, Greg, I need help with getting funds from a client in California. And I said, you would be going out to California for 6 months to help him. I said, I could have said no. I mean, it's only in California. I'm on the East Coast, Philadelphia. His is all the way over in California. I could have said no. But I said yes, and off I went. I ended up becoming a program manager for the Bradley Fighting Vehicle. Never worked with Army vehicles ever before. It was always Navy, aircraft, stuff like that. Now I'm working with armored vehicles. But lots of things came to come. The most important yes ever, I met my wife, got married out in California. I transferred back to the East Coast to support the production plan, as you can see some pictures in there. And I learned things about these things called Agile and Scrum. Even when I was in California, they didn't ever mention Agile and Scrum. It wasn't until I came to East Coast that and I was in the Bay Area. And I learned about making things smaller, and one of the other things I thought in the future, my next move, in case I had to go back to California, go with the other family, my wife's family, I wanted to make sure I knew software. So I started that journey into the software world. Now I started rebuilding my business. But before that, I was doing contract roles. So I was putting jobs out there, putting my name out there. And I had this one interview with an executive. And he says, I'm looking for someone more well-known. That's a no, right? That's a big no. You're not well-known enough. So what did I do? I started my business back up. This time I'm coaching and consulting, starting with 15-minute videos on Agile and Scrum. And I made some fun videos with my kids. I ended up getting 14 million views with the help of my son, who's in that picture. I think that video got like 13 some odd million views. And I've done 1,100 plus shows, have over 14,000 connections in LinkedIn. So I based on that, no, I took it and ran with it, right? I didn't let it stop me. And then you figure out you're going to build from big pieces. You get those no's, turn them into smaller pieces. So turning no's into yeses to help your career along. The SWOT solutions. I have 3 applied concepts, right? One is turning no's into smaller, easy yeses for people to digest, and I'll give you some examples. Saying yes to your own career growth and transforming your mindset, as was spoke about earlier, from with small yeses to achieve those bigger goals. So once you start, you got to say, I can take these small steps so that I can grow. Things look scary, you got these big no's, everything's scary. So you turn these big no's into smaller yeses. You and your team must work for the yes and not depend on others. Like I had to work door-to-door sales for the perfume stuff, but you got to work hard on it. You got to leverage a yes to make even more yeses. So when you do get a yes, you leverage that yes to get more yeses in the future. Keep it small and simple and understand the customer's capabilities. If you have a customer that tells you, I only have approval rate for $10,000 for a bill, don't give them a bill for $12,000. Keep it at $9,000 so it gets through the process quicker. You know, you might think you want to build that big book, but they'll tell you what their limits are. Listen to the customer, make it smaller so they can give you that yes without having to go all the way up to the CEO of the company to prove what they're going to do business with you. And sometimes no's are code words for time to move on to new opportunities to say yes. I had one executive VP delivered everything on time, first time ever, everything else in the programs, they're all like a month, 6 months, a year behind schedule. But we delivered on time in this big delivery. And the executive came back to me. Great, you got all this, but we're not going to ever do that again. I'm like, why would I want to work in a place where everything's late? Why wouldn't I want to be on time? So that no he gave me was the energy I needed to go find yes someplace else. So sometimes those no's turn into yeses. Breaking things into small pieces. I talked about that specification. I didn't give a big giant spec to the engineers that needed to prove it. I took out the little tiny missing pieces that still needed approval, and I would hand them individually to the engineers scattered across the country. That way they get overwhelmed and they can approve or make the little modification that I didn't overwhelm them with so much stuff. And then like baking, if you get a big budget, you know, sometimes you got to break them into smaller budgets, going on more than one thing. And what I would do, it may create a little more admin work, but this way people don't want to take your money. That was one of the biggest problems. I had my one boss would go to Detroit every time he talked to the Army, and he'd come back with $5 million less. I'm like, what are you doing? So next time we did this round, I broke it up in 6 different contracts. So it wasn't one big $30 million contract, but these smaller $5 million contracts, and they left it alone. So sometimes making those smaller amounts make it easier for you to keep what you need to do. You just have to work a little harder. And then saying yes to your own growth. You know, never pass up free or discounted training like I did one of my things. It's if you ever listen to Alex Ramones, he always talks about invest in yourself if you can do it. You know, do what you can to fit a yes, and even if it's tough, think long term. I got my master's degree back in 1990. I got what, 30 years, 30 years of benefit out of that, right? And then say yes to unknown opportunities that you can figure out later. There's a picture on there of the device that we had built from scratch that didn't exist. I had a 6-page spec that I created, and we made that from a big cube down to something the size of a cell phone or a credit card. And in that, we got a call from one of the admins from Admiral, and they asked, "We got $700,000. Do you want it?" My intern was like, "What do we do? We don't know." I said, "Take the money. We'll figure it out. We don't know if we're going to spend it yet, but we'll figure it out." And yeah, and I'm going to give you one other thing for your own growth. Say yes to the freedom of owning your own insurance policy. So many people are so scared to leave where they're at or figure out what they want to do or switch to another job because of the benefits. Go online, find out your benefits, get life insurance, get health insurance, or at least know how to do it. I've had my own life insurance for 14 years now, so I don't worry about that. And health insurance, you never know. Make it a plan to learn from others every year. Go to a conference. These are a couple examples, some of the books I've read over time. You got 10X Rule, U2 Squared, Magic, You're Born Rich, Think and Grow Rich, kind of think Atomic Habits. Learn from others while you can. Don't wait until you're in a stuck point. You never know what your future is going to go or a corporation has in store for you. Look at all the people that have been laid off recently. You're not thinking, oh, everything's great. Always enrich yourself and your knowledge. I had some product owners that worked under one company. The CIO asked me, what can they do? I said, well, they can take this class and this class. Their response were, we're too busy. We know everything we need to know. And then within a year and a half, that company got acquired, right? And they laid off their whole entire IT staff. Now, the ones who took the classes had certs on their resume. They can take it out. They had all that. But those that didn't do it had nothing. How does anybody know, like from a third party representative, what experience you have? The certs are really good. Look at me. I got all these certs. There's a bunch of them all listed down there. I don't even think that's all of them, but there's a lot of them. And every year I would just take another cert, plan for it, put budget in your budget for your year, put a little bit of money, go to a conference. They just had a conference in Louisiana. I think there's another conference in Dallas for those who are in the agile world. But go to your conference for your business and go find out more about it. And then lastly, transform your mindset with small yeses. You know, 3 little things that I got from reading all those books from millionaires and billionaires. Every day be thankful. Write down some goals. Get a coach or a mentor in areas that you may not be too familiar with, or a coach just to get through the mindset changes. Say yes to that. Join mastermind groups. I offer one, but the mastermind group helps you expand your mind to solutions to problems you have. They may not give you the solution right then, but you're feeding off all these other people in the room to get these answers and these solutions, and it helps out in a big way. And then here's some tips. Here's something I do. I got a little picture over here of me recording every day from Atomic Habits. It's good to establish good habits. So I got my own 5 habits I do every morning and just share them with you. Every day I write 10 things I'm thankful for. There's a good book out there called The Magic. They got a 28-day program. If you did every one of those, you find 28 different ways to be thankful in your life, and it is really a mind opener. So if you're worried about stuff, look at that. And then I actually write 2 versions of my goals. One, I have a super lifetime goal, like where do I want to be in 20 years? And then I have a short 6-month, 1-year goals. I write simple little bullet numbers. I'm an engineer. You write little things, right? PowerPoints, right? Love them. And then I write long form and just write it out. So it's programmed in my mind. And then I also write on I write down things that I'm not doing to remind myself. Like if I'm not out there working out or going for walks every day or doing my sit-ups or whatever, I write, Greg, you didn't do your sit-ups today. Just writing that in your diary book just to remind you so the next day, yeah, I didn't do that, did I? And then write down what you're going to do in the next few weeks. Some of my mentors recommend, dates. Dates motivate and hold us accountable. So put a little bit in the book, say, hey, every next week I want to have this done on this date, this done on that date, and use those dates to motivate you. And then the last thing is I look at all those things on those book and I prioritize the things I want to do in the day that I can say yes to. I look at them, what can I say yes to and what I'm going to do today? And do that before anybody else starts pinging you with emails, right? And then lastly, I just want to share this with you. Forgiveness. Make sure you can't move on without being forgive yourself, and forgiveness opens doors to yeses in the future. If you can't learn to forgive, you'll be stuck in the past. You'll with all these no's, can't do this fail. Face it, we all make mistakes. Saying yes is an exponential way of growth. Like making mistakes is a way of saying yes. Sometimes the mistakes you make will hurt others and create no's, right? So you need to forgive yourself for causing those barriers and also have a chance to talk to them. One of the things I wrote down for one of my mastermind groups is at the bottom. I forgive myself for the mistakes I have made, and I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so I can move on to the future with a clean slate. It's so important to forgive. And I'll just say the other day I made a big mistake. I overcommitted, wanted to go to this boating thing out in the ocean with some friends, family of mine, and I just overcommitted. I called, I said, look, I'm sorry. I overdid it, and prioritize the things. And you have to learn to forgive yourself. I was eating me up, but I had to forgive myself for the mistake. They forgave me as well for making that change in schedule, but everything was good. Right? So it makes everything much better. And then if you want to connect, I got a barcode here. You can join our mailing list, get stuff. You get a free copy of my book in PDF version. If you want to join us, you want to learn about getting out there and presenting and meeting your goals, got all kinds of ways of doing it, social media, a Slack group. And then you can get a hold of me anyway. I'm on all the social media, as you can see. If you're in a company, you're not posting if your company's not posting like 50 times a day, as Gary Vee would say, then you're not doing enough. Me, I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and podcasts everywhere. So if you can't find me, let me know. But go ahead and reach out to me on LinkedIn if you like, connect. We can talk more if you need a coach or mentor. Be happy, or you want to experience a mastermind group. You can come join ours and find out what it's like. And that's what I
Wow.
have.
That's really great. Like it's it's bits of your story, but it's very impactful. Like it's really the full journey. Like I was trying to try like asking something in my mind, and then in the next slide it answers like you're answering. Like you have definitely shared a few turning points in your career, but you're able to overcome it, and that's because of uh the the, the conversion to yeses that
Yeah, and making them small. Those big things that you're saying, the big no's in the world. Okay, let's break it down to small. How can I get my yes to build up to answer that no, right?
yeah, definitely. So that's very timely because there's a lot of generations right now. Like it's something that they uh they get angry or very sad if like they are being deprived of some few things. It's just that they didn't know how to slowly get
Yeah.
those things. Yeah, just with
And that's
with a
the key
small.
about that forgiveness part. Forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. I went down, I ended up picking pennies out of the street for a
Yeah.
while, So, you make mistakes, things happen, things out of your control. Got to forgive the universe, and forgive yourself, and you'll do fine.
Very true. So like I experienced same kind, which I was like ejected from the company, but it was not totally my fault. I was just being involved in one way or another, just like the word of mouth that I was involved in some few violations of the company. Then I was ejected, so I thought I could never work it out, but yes, it's really true. It's a matter of perception and also telling yourself that you can still do it.
Yep. And move on past it, grow past it, right?
Yeah.
Like you did.
So, yeah, please promote anything upcoming in your where can they access some of your works? Do you have a website and
Yeah, I got the website. I could share the screen again. So you can get me anywhere 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. So
mhm.
you can find me there if you like. Also, if you want to, you can scan the QR code, and that'll get you right into our mailing list. And if you join the mailing list, if you have problems, just send me a note on LinkedIn. I can send you a direct downloadable copy of the PDF. And then the beautiful thing about the book, there's 20 other change agents with 20 other different stories in the book. So it's not just me. The pleasure is that I'm with all these other people. So it's not a boring read of just Greg Mester, what's he got to say? But there's all these other people that are in this book that wrote to it and added to it, it's very diverse. I mean, it's the most diverse book I've ever been with, so it's pretty cool. And again, if you need to, you can reach out. If you see Greg Mester on LinkedIn, just look for the Agile Cheerleader. That would be me. You see the little icon. Drew a little cartoon of myself, so you can find me there, and more than happy to help you if anybody needs any help or connect. I got 14,000 connections, so if you're looking for jobs, I'm the one you want to connect with, because then you get all these other second level connection. Oh, Greg Mester. How is that? What did you do? And if anybody wanted to do interviews or anything, I do interviews for my show. We do a meetup. If you got something you want to present and share with everyone that you think other people in the community can, I think of everyone that presents as a change agent, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, it's the best thing. Like sharing your personal perspective and experiences, definitely is a great thing. Uh, yeah, because here in the Let Us Talk at Zipners, we actually think that information you can just type it in Google or whatever browser you have, then you can get it. But definitely the value comes from experience of a seasoned professional, like what you have shared today, like the journey and how you have come to the present right now, and it's not simple. Like you've been through pieces of no's, and you have worked your way out of it by yeah, definitely turning things
Okay.
into small yeses. So such a great topic that we have experienced today as well in today's Zipinar. So we are almost at the end of today's session, and yeah, again, if you wish to connect with Greg, just check on LinkedIn, type his name, or you can visit on the website posted on the screen. And this recorded session will be uploaded on YouTube as well, so you can review if you missed this live session. I don't have any questions on chat right now on YouTube, and but definitely if there would be any coming up, I'll send it to you, or they can just connect with you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
just connect with
So
me, or they
yeah,
can, however you want to do. More than happy to share.
yeah,
Thank you.
that's perfect then. Well, thank you so much, Greg, for your time today. It's actually a pleasure, and you are very willing to share your time and your efforts, definitely, in adding value to the community by sharing free knowledge. Not just your knowledge, but your experience as well. So, I guess we can actually run through the end of this Let Us Talk It Zipinar. Thank you so much for those who watched, and for those who will be watching in the recorded session. And also, we do this every Wednesday at exactly the same time, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So feel free to join us again next Wednesday. We will bring you two new topics and two new guest speakers to share their experience and their knowledge into this platform. And remember, it's completely free. So as mentioned earlier, do not um, pass yourself into free self improvement. All right. So again, thank you so much, everyone, and thank you. Thanks in regards to our guest speakers. Roslyn has to drop off, and Greg, thank you so much for today. And yeah, take care, everyone, and keep safe as always. And this is the end of today's session.